What is going on, guys, and welcome back to the Bit of Footy YouTube channel. Now today we're going to be doing the video of the week, it seems like, on the AFL YouTubing community. It is the classic Squiggle video. We're going to be jumping onto Squiggle, predicting how the end of the season will go. So Pat and Ryder have uploaded this video as well, so if you want to go check their predictions out, I'll leave a link in the description so you can see their videos as well. So yeah, this is the classic video. I'm not copying their idea because I did say at the end of my tipping video that I would be doing this video, so obviously I am going to be doing it. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. Alright, so I'm going to keep the ladder a secret. I'm gonna keep the ladder a secret. Now, obviously, we've got the Port versus Saints game running at the moment. I would have tipped the Saints. Anyway, let's run through them quickly. I don't want to take too long in this video. So, the Suns versus Dogs. I would go the Dogs in this one. Could be a close one, considering how the Suns have been playing, but I'm going to tip the Dogs. This one by 23 points. The D's versus the Hawks. I think the D's should get the job done. Normally have a pretty, decent game, these two sides, when they play each other. So I feel like it'll be another 20+ point margin, so I'll go 26. To the D's, North Melbourne versus Essendon. North Melbourne have been surprising the last few weeks, especially the win over the Eagles in Perth. But I think the pace that the Dons have will outdo the Roos, and the Dons will win by... Could be a blowout, but I'll say 21 points. Collingwood versus Carlton. I think it'll be a close game, but I think the Pies will just get the job done, so I will tip the Pies by 13 points. Eagles versus Crows at the Adelaide Oval. Tex Walker is playing. I did say I may change my tip if Tex is playing, and he is. So I will be going the Crows in a bit of an upset in this one by, we'll say, 7 points. I feel like it could be close. And then we've got the Giants versus the Swans to round out the round. The Giants could get the job done. They always play some surprising games of footy, but considering how well the Swans have been playing, I think the Swans will get the job done. In a single-figure margin, we'll go 9 points. Then moving on to round 19, Port Adelaide versus Collingwood to kick off round 19. As much as I want my Pies to get the job done, I don't think it will happen, and I think the Power by 13 is a reasonable margin because they normally play close games, the Power and the Pies. Then we've got the Swans taking on the Dockers. It is at GMHBA Stadium. The Swans do like to play at GMHBA, so I'm going to tip them by around 25 points. Then we've got the Hawks taking on the Lions. The Lions have been a bit disappointing the last few weeks, but I think they will bounce back and win this game over the Hawks at the G. We'll say by 23 points. It's the Bombers taking on the Giants. This could be a strange game, this one. I think it'll be close. I think the Bombers will get the job done secretly in this game. It will be a close one, so I'll go the Bombers by around a 2 to 3 goal margin, so I'll settle on 13 points. Then it is the Suns taking on the D's at... Metricon Stadium. I will be tipping the D's in this one. I think it will be a blowout, and I think the D's will get the job done by 31 points in this one. The Eagles versus the Saints. I'm actually going to get the Saints to win this one. Well, I won't get them to win, but I'll tip them to win this one. I will tip them to win... Normally close because it is at Optus Stadium, so it won't be a big margin, I don't think. So I'll tip the Saints by 13 in a cracking game of footy. Then it is the Dogs taking on the Crows in Mars Stadium, at Mars Stadium, sorry. I think it normally doesn't go past the 30-point game at Mars Stadium, considering how windy it normally is. So I'm going to tip the Dogs by 24 in that one. Geelong versus Richmond at the G. If Richmond play like they do against the Lions, you never know. But against the Cats, I feel like the Cats will have the power to stop the Tigers and will get the job done by 15 points. Normally a close game. Normally 2 to 3 goal margin in those games, besides the grand final of 2020. Carlton versus North Melbourne. I can see North Melbourne winning, but I just feel like the Blues will have the edge over the Roos in that game and get the job done by 11 points. Moving on to round 20, it is the Bombers taking on the Swans at Marvel Stadium. Assuming it is at Marvel Stadium, I will be going the Bombers. In this one, I reckon the Bombers to get the job done by... I'll say 11 points. I feel like the Swans will put on a good effort, but the Bombers, all in all, will get the job done. North Melbourne versus Geelong. Geelong should get the job done. Again, it is in Tasmania, a windy state. It could be a blowout, but I'm going to give North the benefit of the doubt and just say 24 points, a 4-goal margin. Brisbane versus Gold Coast. If Gold Coast play well, you never know, considering how the Lions are in a bit of a form slump, but it is at the Gabba in front of their home fans. I think the Lions get the job done by 23 points. St Kilda versus Carlton at Marvel Stadium. I think the Saints, the way they've been playing is pretty good. So I think the Saints will get the job done, and I'll say by 22 points in a decent game of footy, that one. Then we've got the D's taking on the Dogs at the MCG. I think this is a Saturday night game. Should be a ripper to watch. And I think the D's will actually get the win over the Dogs, meaning that it will be twice that they've beaten the Dogs this season. I'll go the D's by 14 in that one. Adelaide versus Hawthorn. It is at the Adelaide Oval. These two have been pretty average this season, but I will say the Crows have been playing a little bit better. It is at the Adelaide Oval, so I feel like it'll be one of those games where the Crows turn up. Should be a close one, considering that these two have been pretty average this season, so I'll go the Crows by 15 only. GWS versus Port Adelaide. I think Port Adelaide will get the job done by 21 points. Collingwood versus West Coast. Considering how West Coast have been and considering how Collingwood would have been, I think the form favours Collingwood in this one. It will be close. I don't think it will go past the 3-goal game, so I'll tip the Pies by 13. Then it is the Dockers taking on the Tigers at Optus Stadium. As much as I want to tip the Dockers, I'm going to go in favour of the Tigers and tip them by 8 points. I feel like they'll just come out and just get the job done over the Dockers. Then round 21 kicks off. It is the Blues taking on the Suns at Marvel Stadium. I'm going to be tipping the Blues in this one. It should be a close one, so I'm only going to go the Blues in 16-point margin. By a 16-point margin is how I say. And the Cats versus the Giants. This could be a sneaky one where the Giants get the job done. You never know. But I think the Cats at home have been playing some really good footy. So I'm going to tip the Cats by 15 points. Hawks versus Collingwood. I think Collingwood have been playing the better footy than the Hawks have this season. So I'll tip the Pies by 17. Nothing too fancy in that one. Richmond versus North Melbourne at the G. Could the Kangas get the job done? I believe they can. But going by the players that the Tigers have, I think the Tigers will get the job done. I think it'll be close. So I'm going to go the Tigers by 8 points only, considering how the two teams have been playing as of late. St Kilda versus Sydney. Now, this could be a Sydney win. And I'm actually going to go the Swans in this one. I think it could be one of those strange games where the Swans come out at Marvel Stadium. They stop the Saints' run. They stop the Saints' attack that they try to do. They stop the Saints' game plan is basically what I'm trying to say. And they win this one. So I'm going to go the Swans by 13 points. Dogs versus Bombers. I will be going the Dogs in this one. I think it'll be a close game. I think the Bombers will come out firing, they will come out with a good game plan to try to stop the Dogs. But all in all, I think the Dogs will get the job done by 13 points. Adelaide versus Port Adelaide. I don't think much has to be said about this one. Port have obviously been the better team this year than the Crows. In the showdown, Port by 23 points. Fremantle versus Brisbane. Now, this could be a strange game. I can see the Dockers getting the job done. And I have seen strange results from the Dockers over the Lions in Perth. But I still feel like the Lions will get the job done in this one. I think it'll be closer than people think. And I think it'll be a 13-point game. West Coast versus Melbourne. Considering how West Coast have been playing, I feel like this will be one of those games where the D's come out firing and win it by around 20 to 30 points. So I'll sit in the middle. I'll go 25 points. Brisbane versus Collingwood. As much as I want Collingwood to win, I think the Lions will get the job done at the Gabba. I think it'll be, will it be close? Maybe not, but I feel like it will be. I feel like the Pies will sort of put in an effort, and I'll go the Lions by 13 points. Geelong versus St Kilda. I think the Cats at home have been really, like I said before, have been playing really good footy. So I'm going to go the Cats in a 20-plus point margin game. It is the Suns versus the Bombers. I think the Bombers will get the job done in that one. I think it will be a closer game than people will think it will be. So I'll go the Bombers by 16 points in that one. GWS versus Richmond. I actually think the Giants can get the job done. They normally play a close game, these two sides. I don't think it will extend. I don't think it will extend past 20 points. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'll go 13 points. Seems reasonable. Hawthorn versus the Western Bulldogs. I think the Dogs will get the job done easily. It is in Tassie though, so I don't think it will extend past 30 points. So I think the Dogs by 22 is a good margin in that one. Melbourne versus Adelaide. I think this will be a blowout margin and the D's will win by 32. North Melbourne versus Sydney. I think the Swans will win this one by around the 3 to 4 goal mark. So I'll settle on 19 points. Port Adelaide versus Carlton. I think Port Adelaide should get the job done in this one by 20 plus points, so I'll go 25. Fremantle versus West Coast. I'll actually tip the Dockers in this one, considering the form that these two teams have been in as of late. Well, you can say that, you know, Fremantle just got smashed by the Cats, but I'm not really impressed with how the Eagles have been playing. And weeks prior to the Geelong game, I've been liking how the Dockers have been playing, so I'll tip the Dockers in a close derby by 15 points. And then last round of the season, it is the Lions taking on the Eagles. I'm actually going to tip the Lions in this one. Well, actually, of course I'm going to tip the Lions in this one. And I'm going to tip them by 23 points. I think that's a reasonable margin. Blues versus Giants, sorry. I think it is at Marvel Stadium. It's the last round of the season. I feel like this is a game where the Blues will come to play and get the job done by around a 3-goal margin. So I'll settle on 17 points. Essendon versus Collingwood. As much as I want Collingwood to win, I think Essendon will get the job done by around a 3 to 4 goal margin. So I'll say 22 is reasonable. Geelong versus Melbourne at GMHBA Stadium. As much as I want Melbourne to win this one, I feel like the narrow ground of GMHBA will hurt them, and I think the Cats will get the job done in a close one by 11 points around. Richmond versus Hawthorn. I think the Tigers will get the job done in this one by 20 plus points, considering how the Hawks have been playing this season. St Kilda versus Freo. As much This will be an actually entertaining game, I reckon. And I reckon the Saints will come out victors by around... It'll be a 10 to 20 point margin, so I'll settle on 15. Sydney versus Gold Coast. I've seen Gold Coast win these games, but I think considering how Sydney have been playing as of late, I'm going to be tipping the Swans. I think 21 sounds alright to me. Western Bulldogs versus Port Adelaide. I think the Dogs, it is at Marvel Stadium, so I think the Dogs have a bit more of an advantage. So I'll go the Dogs by 13 points, just sounds right. Adelaide versus North Melbourne. As much as I would want North to win this, I feel like this will be a game, you know, last round of the season at Adelaide Oval. I think the Crows will come out to win this one and will win it. I think 13 points sounds alright. Alright, so here is my top 8, my final top 8. My final ladder, actually. We've got the D's, Cats, Dogs, Lions rounding out the top 4, which to me sounds alright. I think that's an alright top 4. Then we've got the Power, Swans, Essendon and St Kilda rounding out the top 8, which again to me sounds alright, and it may sound alright to you considering how these teams have been playing in the top 8. And then rounding out, Richmond in 9th. Can you believe it? I wasn't even looking at the ladder, but I've ended up Richmond getting 9th spot. Then we've got the Blues, Dockers, GWS, Collingwood and West Coast rounding out 8 to 14. And then we've got the Crows, Suns, Hawks and North Melbourne rounding out the bottom 4 of the ladder. So North Melbourne are my wooden spooners for the year. And let's have a look at the first week of finals. So as you can see, we've got the D's taking on the Lions, which would be a cracking game considering how last time it went. Port Adelaide versus St Kilda at the Adelaide Oval. You never know how that game could go. It could be close. It could be a blowout. Essendon versus Sydney or Sydney versus Essendon. Wow, that could be a cracker. That could be a cracker if the Dons show up. You know, could be. And then the Cats versus the Bulldogs. Considering how the last game panned out, that would be a cracker of a final as well. It could be at GMHBA Stadium, you never know. But anyway, guys, that's going to end the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. And like I said before, if you want to check out Pat's and Ryder's predictions, make sure to check them out in the link in the description below. And yeah, cheers guys for watching.